appreciate you all coming out to talk to our national champions and triathlon team. Head coach Wes Johnson, joined by Kelly Wetland, Margareta Grablova, and Molly Lakustiak. Coach, if you want to just do a quick opening statement, just thoughts on the last week or so, and then we'll go into questions.
Yeah, thank you all so much for coming. It's been a whirlwind the last week or so for sure. I went straight on a cruise with my family, and nothing keeps you as humble as being with 4 kids under 9 that don't care at all that you just won a national championship on a cruise without service. So yeah, it was great though to spend that time with family, and but being back here on campus, just reliving all the excitement and riding the wave of that win has been really fun. So especially with all these athletes.
First, for all the student athletes, can you say what it means, to win this national championship for each of you?
Yeah, for sure. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I would say it means kind of the world in a sense. Like, we kind of get wrapped up in a lot of this stuff, and it becomes kind of our life for the fall semester. So to top it off like that is amazing. But just our whole team is like a family in that regard. So I would say it's just one of the most surreal feelings.
Yeah, just as Kelly said, it's something we did together as a whole team, including girls who were not racing. We did it also for them, and yeah, it was amazing feeling. We knew that we have a good chance of winning, but it was very hard, and there were a lot of very strong teams, and we were able to bring it home. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it means the world. I feel like we're still kind of in awe that it all happened so fast, and that it's only our second year of everything, and we could do so well. But I think just with the support of not only our team but just Arizona as a whole, just when we came back and we went to BDK for the first time, everyone was just clapping, and then there's teams and coaches we didn't even know that they knew who we were would congratulate us, and I was whoa, this is kind of a big deal. But I think it's just, we're so grateful that it could happen.
Jason, go ahead.
Coach, at what point did you figure that, hey, you got a pretty good team on your hands this year?
I think after recruiting, the freshmen and also everything we established last year, I had a very good idea that this was possible. And then once we arrived in the first couple weeks of this semester, and we had our training camp in California before school started, it became very apparent how incredible this group is and how well they work together and how talented they are, but so much more than just talent, just who they are as people and how coachable they are. And that's why just few weeks into the season, we had our mantra of why not me, why not us? Yes, a lot of people wouldn't expect a year in their second year of their program to win a national championship. But after I saw this team in the first few weeks, I thought in my head, why not us? Why can't we? There's no limits, so let's go for it.
Molly, we'll start with you and go across the row. What made you want to come to such a young program?
I think I wasn't really set on coming to NCAA. I'm from Canada, so I kind of just assumed I would do university at home. But then I did one of our junior races here in Florida, and Wes reached out to me after I competed and was hey, would you be interested in possibly being part of this new team? And I was oh, whoa, I've never thought this was a possibility. So it was very new, and I kind of just thought that I trusted Wes, and I trusted that this team would be what I needed, and to even pursue past college, I knew it would set me up well. So I think I was a no-brainer to come.
Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, for any of you ladies, I think what I read was that they had to do the swimming separate from the other stuff because of something that had happened to the course with a hurricane. How did that change just your preparation? Did it actually make it easier on the second day when you didn't have to do all 3 things at once?
Sure. I mean, yeah, it changed a lot of things. First thing was that we knew the swim is going to be much harder. because it was like the day before, so we were practicing also like to swim very hard till the end, and also like this ending of the swim sessions. Also, another important part was like the first transition is going to be very important, and also running into transition. So we were practicing also all these the day and 2 days before the race at the course, which was very helpful.
Coach.
How do you say or how do you handle injuries and with that mentality? Because I've heard that a lot of times it can just happen, and so what do you do for that?
How we handle injuries? Yeah, I think we take a strong preventative approach. With what we do through strength training, and we have an amazing athletic trainer who works with them daily and comes to all of our sessions. So I think we have a very good preventative approach. In triathlon, this is a very dynamic type of cycling with riding in packs, so there's always possibility of bike accidents, which did happen this year. We had one athlete break a collarbone, who was also one of, could have been on this national team as well. So it just shows the depth we have. But I think it's just we take that preventive approach, but we're also prepared for when it happens to take care of the athletes through our resources of athletic training and what we do, getting the athletes back on track to being healthy again. I think we have a really good approach with that.
David, go ahead.
One for Molly and one for Coach. Molly, if I'm not mistaken, you guys normally do all three disciplines on the same days, swim and then
Bike and run. Yeah.
So I noticed that the shoes are already attached to the bike.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I think it's part of triathlon. So like as soon as you're into the sport, you get used to the new equipment and everything. But it's just like the bike shoes have like a clipless pedal that's attached, and then you use like rubber bands to like hook it onto your bike so that they're flat, and then you'll just run with it. And then as soon as you're on your bike, you get your feet in right away. So I think it's just something you get used to.
Kelly, how long does it take to kind of get used to that? To put your feet in there and get the bike going?
You chose the right person for this one. I started triathlon 2 years ago, so I learned this all as kind of an adult. So I would say it takes some getting used to, definitely, but I was really lucky in the sense that actually Molly is one of the best technical bikers we have on our team, so is Margaret. So just watching them, it's like you're running with your bike and then you jump. So there's a moment where like you're holding onto your handlebars and you're like in the air, and then you land on your bike, and then you put your feet in your shoes. So yeah, it definitely takes some getting used to.
And Wes, Molly was just talking about, obviously, she had no intention maybe of coming to school in the United States. When you saw her at that meet, what jumped out to you about her that you thought she would be a good fit here?
Well, first of all, she won that competition, so that helps. But I also did research, and the athletes are always like, "What you looked that much into me?" And we talked to a lot of people in Canada about her and about her development pathway and everything, and then just talking to them, a lot stood out of how much she cares about this, about her about the sport, how much she loves the sport, and her goals and the future of the sport, and so it just she was a no-brainer.
Two questions first for Coach. So what's the secret to going from no team existing to national championship in 2 years?
Well, I think that the secret sauce was building the right foundation and bringing in the right people from the start. That was the top priority over anything last year, was building that foundation and really just like investing in the individuals and who they are, caring for them and believing in them. I think that when that happens, magic happens. I think they trust in what they're doing, and when you're trusting what you're doing and there's a good cohesion between us and respect, honesty and trust, I think anything is possible.
And for Kelly, so you mentioned you just started competing 2 years ago. Take us through a little bit of your process of how you started, how you got to U of A, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So I have been a swimmer my whole life, so I was recruited to the U of A to swim. I swam my first year, but I always felt like there was something a little bit more that I could give to athletics, to this university. I ran in high school, so I when I heard that we were going to have a team, I approached Wes and I was like, hi, I'm Kelly. I'm a swimmer. I can run. I've never really biked competitively before, but I think I'm crazy enough to do this. Can you like take a shot on me? And Wes was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. And I mean, kind of the rest is in the books, I would say. I just found like these amazing connections in my teammates, and I have friends for life from this, and skills that I'll use for maybe in the job pursuing this sport further someday or in my field of choice. So yeah, I'm just so incredibly grateful.
I just want to follow up to that. So when did you take second, or am I mixing up who got second? Second.
Yes.
So when you crossed the finish line, at nationals, what was going through your mind, knowing your journey with the sport?
Honestly, like, oh my God, where's the finish line? Like, I was pretty tired, but the one thing that was like really going through my head is I saw Margaret like right behind me, so I knew that we had someone in third. I saw Molly had like the race of her life. Like, she came when we knew that we needed her, and so I saw Molly, and then I saw Dansha just a little bit further behind, and then I saw one of our freshmen, Ella. So I was counting out like how many people we had and where the ASU people were, and the first thing that crossed my mind was like, where is everybody? Like, wow, we need those 5 people across the line. So.
Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like your roster has 5 players from the U.S. and then 9 from other countries. Like, how does one recruit internationally for a sport that is so new at the collegiate level?
Yeah, I think what's unique about this sport is it's actually a much bigger sport in Europe. It's a very Eurocentric sport. When I met Margaret, and it was at the Junior World Championships in Hamburg, Germany, and which she took 5th there, I think, right? And at that race, there's 500,000 spectators on the streets, like, it's like mainstream. They all know the sport and they love the sport and they're excited about it, and it's like it's different. It's different there. And the athletes, she's been doing it like her whole life. So they're growing up with exposure to the sport. They're growing up. Everybody rides bike. Mostly everyone rides bikes. It's just a normal thing to do. And so these athletes are just more skilled on the bikes. And so those first couple years, it was definitely heavy recruiting in out of the country, as well as looking to see what we have in the country. But before I started this job, I was 100% on the Olympic track as a coach. Getting athletes to the top, to the Olympic Games was my 100% my focus. And so I was pretty internationally connected, networked well. I understood that talk to have with the athletes as well. And I've also kind of walked the walk with athletes as well and shown that. But now I'm like starting this job. I'm like, yeah, I really got to walk the walk, and we're doing it. So it's proven to be, this is a very international sport. And ironically, it started in the U.S. The sport started in California. But it has taken off all over the world, and it's just a little slower in the U.S. because the U.S. has so many options, right? And one of the reasons it hasn't been an NCAA sport. So, a lot of the NCAA sports take off as youth athletes because they see where they want to get. And so now that it's an NCAA sport, I'm excited and hopeful that, this really just jumps the sport forward. For especially all the women growing up in the country.
Yeah, there's about 40 schools, I think, that do it right now. What
yeah.
Do you think that can get to?
Oh yeah, I think so. It's still considered emerging, but we had to get 40 schools finishing over 3 athletes completing races, and because the problem was some of the D2 through D3 schools weren't having everybody complete races, and so they had to have 40 schools do that, and which they did this year. So next year we go into that next level where it's ran by NCAA instead of USA Triathlon. And so from then on, I think it's going to be a lot more enticing for schools to add as well. So luckily Arizona, wanted to jump on board before it was out of the emerging sports status. They took a chance on the sport, took a chance on me, and And yeah, I'm grateful for that. And now we got to see some other schools do the same, but which I'm confident will happen.
David, go ahead.
Wes, just kind of your side of the Kelly story. When she came to you and said she wanted to be a part of this, how did you vet her to find out if she was right for what you were trying to do here, and how quickly did you realize that not only could she do it, but she was going to be your number one?
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad she found us in our first year, you know, because I think a lot of times, yeah, we have seriously like so many athletes reaching out daily, and a lot of times they're coming from single sports, and sometimes we just can't even give them a chance because how many athletes are reaching out, and but after meeting her and the fact that she was already here. It just made sense, and you know, it just my gut feeling was like we got to do this. And then talking to the swim coaches, I could tell that there was something unique about her. You know, they didn't like that she was doing all these extra things like going to run and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, that's triathlon. So, you know, she has the personality for it. And so you know, and the more I got to know her, the more it was just like, wow, we've got something special here. So. I'm excited to continue to develop that because as good as she's already done, I think we're just scratching the surface.
Going off of that, has your like phone been blowing up with like, I'm sure people congratulating you, but like you mentioned, people interested in wanting to come to Arizona next year or however?
Yeah, no, it definitely has. My phone, yeah, I'm on the cruise and every time I get service, like, whoa. But yeah, I think on all levels, yeah, getting a lot of attention for sure.
What can you say about your team's culture in and out of practice and how that was able to gel them together throughout the season?
Yeah, I think, you know, they do a lot together outside of just the team. You know, I think there's a lot of leadership between these girls and a lot of the other girls that they, you know, if they feel like they need to address something, they'll get the girls together without me, which I think is really cool. You know, they have that autonomy where they do that on their own. And so, you know, with I think that's something really unique that they've just taken charge of, like, the culture of this team. And it's been one of the most unique things I've seen in my career of how they've just taken that ownership of the culture and wanting it to be better, and they just want to. I think it's important how they invest in it every single day. I think culture isn't something you can just let go. It has to be invested in every single day, and they've taken ownership of that, which is awesome.
Any other questions? Good to go. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.